Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers to the drawing on May 19th, 2018. If you would like to play my game, Decoding the Powerball, then please go to my website at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. I have 7 strategies with my game, Decoding the Powerball. So, strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so why I make these videos is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is a format that I put together that represents the 69 white ball numbers. Okay, I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 17, 19, 21, 22, and 51. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list, and then I take the last 3 drawings of numbers and I transfer these numbers over to the game card as red numbers. Then I do the same thing with orange, green, blue, and purple. Okay, so when you look at these numbers on the game card, I want you to look at the red numbers as being hot, that they just barely came up, okay? And then the orange are warm, green's neutral, blue is cold, and purple is ice cold. Okay, so when you see a purple number, this means that it hasn't come up in the last, at least the last 23 drawings. Okay, so for this drawing here, I have 14 red numbers, 13 orange, 12 green, 16 blue, and 14 purple. Okay, so again, there's 69 white ball numbers, okay? And I wanted 5 colors, one to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I did is I put 5 into 69, okay? And that came out to an average of 13.8, okay? So when I divide up the colors like this, I want the ideal situation would be having an average number of either 13 or 14. Okay, so again, as I go through, you can see that the red was 14, orange is 13, green's 12, 16 for the blue, and 14 for the purple. Okay, so these numbers change, the number of colors change with every single drawing. Just last week, this purple was down to like 8 numbers. Okay, so over here to the right, this 228. This represents how many color code drawings I kept track of so far, and these are the color code drawings. Okay, so out of this 228 drawings, 118 drawings have come up a 3-color combination. 82 drawings have come up a 4-color combination. 22 drawings have come up a 2-color combination. And only 7 times out of 228 drawings have all 5 colors come up together. And never has it been just 1 color. Okay, so this number 5 right here, this tells me how many colors just came up in the drawing. Okay, so you can see that this is a 5. Okay, so you can see that there was 1 orange, 1 green, 1 purple, 1 red, and 1 blue. Again, all 5 colors came up that drawing. Okay, so as I look back in here, okay, so as I look at the stats, again, 118 drawings have come up a 3-color combination, okay? So more than half the time, it does come up a 3-color combination, okay? So you can see that the last drawing was 5 colors, then 2, 4, 4, okay? So it hasn't been a 3 for 4 drawings, so my guess here is that this is probably going to be a 3. Okay, so when I pick what I think will be the winning Powerball numbers, I want it to represent just 3 colors here. Okay, so the overall strategy is this. Okay, again, there's 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. Okay, only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. Okay, so for me, I just think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, so to help me out with that, I'm going to turn to how, again, all 5 colors hardly ever come up together. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these colors won't be coming up, and then eliminate that group of numbers that it represents. Okay, so for this drawing here, my guess is that no green numbers will be coming up. Okay, so the reason why is because when I look from this point down to here, I just see lots of green. Okay, and I just think that it's due to miss. Okay, so there's really no rhyme or reason why a color would miss. Okay, I seen it where it was 22 numbers that had that represented the color, and that one missed for that reason. Okay, so. And I also seen where this purple just had 6 numbers that are represented, and 2 of those numbers came up. So you just never know which one it is. It's just a guess, okay? But this gives you a way to guess at things, okay? So again, I don't think any green numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to eliminate these green numbers off of the game card. Okay, so to speed things up, I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far with no green numbers to it. Okay, so if I'm correct with my guess, okay, what I do here, when I block out a number like this, this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these green numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these green numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, so how this works is up at the very top is their master for each individual number. Okay, so down here over to the side, these are the numbers that just came up in the last drawing. So you can see it was the 17, 19, 21, 22, and 51. Okay, so you can see that from the color code that 51 was a blue number. Okay, so as I head on over to the 51, you can see that I put a blue mark there that represented that blue number. Okay, so what that does for me is I can go down to the history of things and see what hasn't come up for a color, okay, in a long time. Okay, so far it was just blue and orange and now purple. Okay, so I haven't seen a red at all. Okay, so that means it just came up, so it's in that red area. Okay, so I may consider picking the 51 just because it hasn't been red in a very long time. Okay, so what this number means right here is this means that those 5 white winning Powerball numbers represented 3 groups. Okay, so I'm going to reduce this down so you can see the whole page. Okay, and what you're going to see is that there's 7 groups here. Okay, so group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9, and then it's the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Again, for 7 groups total. Okay, so there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so that means 2 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so another way that you can use it is you could look at it and say, gee, these numbers haven't had a hit in a while, so I think that something in this group is going to come up. Okay, so how I use this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings. Okay, so the reason why I like to break it down into 5 is because when I go back into the history of things, I could go back saying 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Okay, but another reason why I do it is because I like how it points out how many hits came up in this 5 drawings for this certain group of numbers. Okay, so when I look at everything, I can come up with an average. So for every 5 drawings, the average is usually 3 hits for that group of numbers, okay? 3 to 4, okay? So when it hits 5, then I kind of think that it's going to miss, okay? So the big thing here is that over here in the 50 numbers, there's been a 50 number that has come up in the last 8 drawings, okay? So from what I have of the history of this, that's a record, okay? That ties a record, okay? So my guess is going to be that no 50 numbers will be coming up, okay? So I'm going to eliminate the 50 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so just need to blow this back up. I'm going to go to the game card. I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay, so again, no green numbers from the color code. Okay, and now I'm going to parlay that bet saying that no 50 numbers are going to come up from the individual numbers. Okay, so parlay means to add on. Okay, so I'm going to keep on adding on bets. Okay, reducing the numbers that way. Okay, so again, if these blocked out numbers don't come up in the drawing, then that means that the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these numbers still represented on the board, on the game card. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 3, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the numbers and I divided it into 4 different groups. Okay, and then I put colors to these groups. So here you can see red, blue, orange, and green. So these are the stats for those colored areas up there. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerballs come up, and again, they were 17, 19, 21, 22, and 51. You can see that the 17 and the 19 were here in the red area. The blue was the 21 and 22. And the orange was 51. So that means no winning Powerball numbers came up in this green area. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Okay, so if I could have correctly guessed that none of these green numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, I could have eliminated all these numbers and really gave myself a much better shot at getting the 5 white correct winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so for this drawing here, I have 15 of these option cards. Okay, and the reason why I have so many is because I want as many options as possible to try to guess where this zero is going to pop up. Okay, so my first guess is going to be right here. Option card number 4, I don't believe that any orange numbers are going to come up. Okay, and the reason why I'm picking this one, and you know, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. Okay, I may look at this as I don't think any orange is going to come up, and you may look at it and say, no, I don't think any green is going to come up or whatnot. Okay, so again, my guess is that I don't believe that any orange numbers will be coming up. And the reason why I'm doing it is because one of these orange numbers have come up in the last 20 drawings. Okay, so I just kind of think that it's due to miss. And I think there's going to be a blue mark right here, which means that I don't believe that any of these orange numbers are going to come up. Okay, so all these numbers here are just, all these colored numbers are just to help me divide the numbers. Okay, and down here are the stats. Okay, so when I take these numbers off, because I don't believe that they're going to come up, I want to do it through the game card. Okay, so these orange numbers don't have anything to do with the orange numbers here on the game card. Okay, so there's 2 different formats here. But again, my guess was that no green numbers were going to, no orange numbers are going to pop up. Okay, so this is what the game card looks like so far. All right, so my next one is my next guess is option card number 9, no green numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 9, and the reason why I'm picking this one, and again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently, okay? But I see this, and what I see amongst all the other ones too is that a 1 will come up, where just one hit and then it will be a miss or whatnot. So again, a lot of these 1s seem to come up a lot with these with the stats here. Okay, so you can see this one here. Okay, and as I go down through, you can see that a 1 hasn't come up in a very long time. Well, here it is here in this column. Okay, now when we look at these other columns over here, you can see that here's a 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so again, they come up fairly often here. Okay, so here's one over here. Here's one. Okay, so again, I just think that it's due to have a 1 right here. Okay, and if that were to happen, then this needs to be a 0. Okay, so I don't believe that any of these green numbers are going to come up. So again, I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so we're going to scroll to the right. Okay, so this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay, and again, if I'm correct with my pick and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5-white winning Powerball numbers have to be within these numbers still left on the board. Okay, on the game card. So that was it for group 1. Okay, so now I'm going to go off to the next strategy. Okay, and that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so here in group 2, I have 15 of these option cards as well. Okay, so instead of breaking it down into 4 different groups like I did with group 1, here I divided them into 8 different groups. Okay, so again, I know that there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, so 3 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so show you how I use this. Okay, so here's option card number 1. Okay, so again, the Powerball numbers for last drawing were 17, 19, 21, 22, and 51. Okay, so the 17 was in red, the 19 was in orange, the 21 was in purple, the 22 was in brown, and the 51 was in orange. Okay, so 1 red number, 2 orange, 1 purple, 1 brown. Okay, so when it comes to these option cards, you can see that I have 8 different color groups. Okay, I use all the same colors for each option card. Okay, and they're all red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, so as I go down through, you can see that the red area up here in option card number 2 go from left to right. And then back over here in option card number 1, you can see that the numbers go from 1 to 57. Okay, so again, all the colors are the same as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each different option card. Okay, so how I use this is, again, in the last drawing, there was one that came up to 17. Okay, so as I go down through the stats here, okay, you can see that this 1 right here, that represents that 17. Okay, so here in the blue, you can see that that was a 0 because there was no winning Powerball numbers. And then in that orange area, remember I said that there was 2 numbers, the 19 and the 51. Okay, so there's no winning numbers in the green area. There's 1 in the purple, 1 in the brown, nothing in the gray, and nothing in the yellow. Okay, so altogether it hit 4 groups. Okay, 4 color groups. Okay, so since the majority of the numbers were over here to the left side, I colored that for red. And if the majority of the numbers are over here, or the 5 numbers are over here to the right side, then I color that color green. Okay, so that just tells me how many times the majority has been to the left or right side. Okay, so if it's been really dominant over to one side, then eventually you're going to start to pick that uh, less numbers are going to come over here or whatnot. Okay, so again, as I go back up, for this drawing here, again, I have 15 of these option cards. So my first pick is going to be no yellow numbers. Okay, so how this works again is that you can see that there's 5 numbers here. Okay, so I like to record the stats into 5 here. Okay, and the reason why I do that is because it shows me a majority of things. Okay, so if there's 3 or more hits within these 5 drawings, then I color the background red for hot. If there's 3 or more zeros or misses, then I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so the reason why I do that is I go back into the history of time here, the history of the game. I can see that all this red is hot, hot, hot. So I know that since the lottery is so random, nothing can stay hot forever and nothing can stay cold forever. Okay, so I just have to correctly guess when this thing is going to turn cold and take those numbers out. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here. I think that this yellow area is going to start to get cold here. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here, which again means that none of these yellow numbers will hopefully not come up in the drawing. Okay, so again, I don't think they're going to come up, so I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm back over here at the game card. And as I scroll down, you can see that underneath Group 2 option card, I think I went a little too far here. Okay, so here's the correct one that I want to be on. Okay, so you can see underneath Group 2 option card number 1, no yellow numbers, so you can see that those yellow numbers are gone. Okay, so how this works and why I have these numbers off here to the side is that this is a nice grid. This is the grid that I wanted, okay, of 64 numbers. Okay, so it's nice and even. It has 8 squares going from top to bottom, 8 squares going from left to right. I could really break it and dissect it apart really easily, okay? But there's 69 white ball numbers in the lottery, okay? So what I had to do is have these numbers share a square, okay? So the 8 shares the square with the 66. So what that means is that when I want to get rid of this group of yellow numbers, I'm going to get rid of the 8 and the 66 as a group. Okay, so that's how you have to look at it. All I'm doing is creating groups of numbers and trying to correctly guess whether they're going to come up or not come up in the drawing. Okay, so right now I'm looking for groups of numbers that I don't believe are going to come up. And again, the reason why I'm doing that is because 64 numbers won't be able to come up. So it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, so I'm off to my next pick in Group 2, and that's option card number 5, no blue numbers. Okay, so as I get to option card number 5, again, here's the blue area. And as I head down through the stats, the history of the stats, you can see that things have been kind of cool, but I think they're going to stay cool. And I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay? So again, that means that I don't believe that any of these blue numbers are going to come up. So I want to get rid of them. And again, I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over to the right. And you can see what the game card looks like so far. So again, if I made all the correct picks so far, And all these blocked out numbers, if they don't come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2. I got a couple more picks that I want to make. So again, there's 8 color groups here, and there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I know that 3 of these groups won't be able to come up. Okay, so my next pick is option card number 7, no yellow numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the yellow. And as I head down through, you can see that things are, I don't know, 50-50, but then they got really hot, and now I think they're going to start to turn cold, so I think there's going to be a 0 there. Okay, so again, I don't believe that any of these yellow numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. Okay, so again, you can read underneath group 2, option card number 7, no yellow numbers. And you can see that all those yellow numbers are gone now. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2. And my next pick is going to be option card number 9, no blue numbers. Okay, so here's option card 9 right here. Okay, so here's the blue area. And as I head down through, you can see that things have been really hot. And now I think they're going to cool off. And here I think there's going to have a 0. Okay, so I don't believe that any of these blue numbers will be coming up. So again, I want to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so it's the pattern of the 227 and the 1621. Okay, so now I'm going to... Okay, the one that I'm going to get rid of here is the 34, okay? So it was the 227 over on this side. And then the 1621. So you can see that those are gone. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the left. And you can see that 34 is gone now. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2. And my next pick is going to be option card number 10, no gray numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 10. Here's the gray, and as I head down through, you can see that things that were really, really hot, okay? And now I think they're going to start to cool off. So I think that this is going to be a 0 right here, which again means I don't believe that any of these gray numbers are going to come up in the drawing, so I want to get rid of them, okay? It's the pattern of the 1728 for all 4 big squares. Okay, so the only thing that's left here is the 60. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over to the left, and you can read underneath option card number 10, no gray numbers. You can see that 60 is gone now. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and my next pick is option card number 11, no orange numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the orange, and as I head down through, you can see that things got really, really hot. Okay, so now I think they're going to start to cool off. Okay, so I think that this is going to be a 0. So again, I don't believe that any of these orange numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I believe that the only one left is the 33 and the 37, I believe. So I'm going to scroll over to the left. Okay, so you can see that it was the 33. Okay, so that's gone now. Okay, so again, if I made the correct pick, then I just got rid of one more number. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and my next pick is option card 14, no gray numbers. Okay, so making my way to 14. Okay, so here's the stats for the gray. And as I head down through, you can see that things got hot, hot, hot. Okay, so now I think they're going to start to cool off. And I think that this is going to be a 0 right here. So again, I don't believe that any of these gray numbers are going to come up. Okay, so you can see the gray numbers for this option card. This is 66, 8, 66, 24, 12, 28. Okay, and the 37. Okay, so I believe that's the one that's going to go. So as I scroll over, you can see that 37 will be gone. Okay, so again, it's just one number, but I got one more number off the card, you know. So again, if I made all the correct picks and none of these blocked out numbers come up in the drawing, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back for one last pick, and that's option card 15. I don't believe that any green numbers are going to come up. Okay, so here's the stats for the green. And as I head down through, things look like they're 50-50. But then it got really hot, and now I think it's going to start to cool off. So again, I think there's going to be a 0 right here, which again means that I don't believe that any of these green numbers will be coming up in the drawing. So I want to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so the ones that are going is the 20 and the 63. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down now. Okay, so you can see group 2, option card 15, no green numbers, and you can see that 20 and 63 are gone. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do as far as getting rid of numbers. Okay, so again, I started off with 69 white ball numbers. Okay, and now I got the numbers down to 2, 4, and 4 is 8, and 4 is 12. Okay, so again, if I made all the correct picks on these numbers that I didn't think were going to come up, if these blocked out numbers don't come up in the drawing, then again, the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within these numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so to help me pick, to really pinpoint where these numbers are, I'm going to turn to my next strategy. And that's strategy number 5, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers in the drawing. Okay, so that means there's going to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. Okay, so I like to keep track of that and try to quickly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing. Okay, so how this works is this 273. This tells me how many drawings I kept track of so far. And this goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers. Okay, so out of this 273 drawings, 137 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers. 136 drawings have been the majority of even numbers. Okay, so for me, I just think that's amazing, you know, that they're so close like that. Okay, so as I move on, again, I want to make a guess on what's going to come up, and it's so hard for me to guess that I'm not going to take one. Okay, so I have 4 of these things to choose from. Okay, and if I could just guess at one of them and get one correct, then that's an advantage anyways, you know. So here you can see that the red numbers are high numbers. Okay, and that's split at the 33. Okay, 32 and lower. Okay, so here you can see that majority of the drawings were 134 to 139. Okay, so maybe there'll probably be more high numbers than low numbers for this drawing, but I'm not positive. Okay, so the next one is left and right. So you can see that this is 136 to the left side, 137 for the majority to the right side. Okay, so really close as well. And then here, the last 50-50 is, you can see this red and blue area here. Okay, so the red has leading 156 drawings to 117. So at some point, I expect this blue to catch up. And I think that there's going to be more blue numbers for this drawing than red. Okay, so when I'm picking my numbers, I want to make sure that at least 3 of them are in this blue area. Okay, so one last thing that I have in here is for the Powerball number itself. Okay, I have 2 columns here. So as I go back to the Powerball homepage, again, the red ball number, okay, there's 26 of those red ball numbers. There's 69 white ball numbers, 26 red ball numbers. If you get all the numbers right, then you win the grand prize. Okay, so here in this column, okay, I divided the numbers into half. So 26 was easy, divided by 2, 13 each. Okay, so if you see a red number, if you see a blue number, I mean, in this column, then that means that it's a low number of 1 through 13. If you see a red number, then that means it's high, 14 to 26. So in this column here, if you see a red number, that means that it's an odd number. And if you see a blue one, then that means it's evens. Okay, so why I do that is because it, just looking at the colors kind of helps me try to guess what color will be coming up. Okay, so for this drawing here, I think that this is going to be a blue, which means that I think it will be a low number. Okay, and over here, I think it will be blue as well. Okay, so I think the Powerball number will be a low, even number. Okay, so as I head back to the game card here, I'm almost done. Let's see here. Okay, so this is for the 50-50 picks. And again, the only one that I'm going to guess at is that I think that more numbers are going to come in this blue area than the red area. Okay, so as I go back to the next strategy, okay, strategy number 6, picking the numbers I hope will hit from group 2. Okay, so again, I have 15 of these option cards, okay, and that means that I have all the same colors as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that I have 15 red areas, 15 blue areas, 15 orange, okay, and so on. Okay, so what I do is I keep a group 2 overview. Okay, so I'm going to go to that right now. And basically what it tells me is how many option cards had a hit to it and how many had a miss. Okay, so this is the group 2 overview right here. Okay, so here's how it works in those red areas for all 15 of those red areas. Okay, on the left side stands for hits. On the right side stands for miss. Okay, so in the last drawing here, this red area had 11 hits and 4 misses. Okay, so as I go back to group 2 here, I'll go down to the bottom of this. Okay, so you can see that the red had a hit for that last one. Okay, so that was part of the 11 hits. And over here, you can see the red area had a 0, so that was part of the 4 misses. Okay, so as I go back to things here. So again, 11 and 4 equal 15. Okay, so the magic number here is 8. Okay, so if there's 8 or more hits within these 15 option cards, I color the background red for hot. If there's 8 or more misses, then I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so again, now I just have to look at the colors and try to guess when it's going to be a certain color. Okay, so for this drawing here, I think there's going to be lots of hits in the red area, and I think there's going to be lots of hits in the orange areas. Okay, so out of those 15 option cards, I expect at least 8 or 9, okay, or more, to have hits to it. Okay, so as I go back to the game card here, I'm going to scroll to the right. And again, you can read underneath. I think there's going to be lots of hits among the red and orange areas of group 2. Okay, so how this works is this number 1 right here in the yellow that represents option card number 1. Okay, so as I go back to option card number 1, I look to see what's in the red area. So the red area represents the 1 down to the 57. And as I look on the game card, there's only one left, and that's the 1. So I put that right here. Okay, so for the orange area, you can see the orange runs from the 3 down to the 59. So what numbers are left in that column are the 3, 35, and 43. And you can see that I wrote that over here. Okay, option card number 1. Okay, so I did that with all 15 option cards, and these are the numbers that I came up with. Okay, so on to the last strategy. Strategy number 7, picking my numbers. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right, and the numbers that I'm going to go with for this drawing are the 1, 3, 35, 43, 44. Okay, so with this combination of numbers, this will give me 9 hits, 6 misses in that red area, and 8 hits, 7 misses in the orange area. Okay, so as I go back to the Group 2 overview, again, I think that this will be a 9 and then a 6. Okay, 9, 6, and then over here, I think that this will be an 8 and a 7. Okay, so since they're both more than 8 hits, I expect this to be red. Okay, so as I go back to the game card here, so again, I thought there was going to be more numbers to that blue area, the 50-50 picks, and you can see that the 35, 43, and 44 will make that happen for me. Okay, so that will give me 3 numbers here in that blue area. Okay, so again, that's how I use my game. Okay, you can use it any way you want. Basically, all it is a bunch of stats to help you make a decision on what group of numbers will or will not come up. Okay, so again, if you would like to use my game or get my game, then please go to my website at www.patreon.com/decoding the Powerball. Okay, and if you'd like to send any feedback, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Again, that's decodingpowerball@gmail.com. All right, folks, I appreciate you watching. If you like the content of this channel, then please subscribe. And as always, I'd like to wish you the best of luck when you're picking your numbers.